Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hello. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, and we're here bringing more content here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live all the way from the KU Dungeon in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. And as always, I got the place to myself, making content, having a good time, doing what I do best, and it's great. It's awesome. Shout out to Sean Queen, who is the owner and proprietor of the KU Dungeon, aka Kicked Up Fitness over at National Business Parkway. He's always been somebody that has believed in what I do, and he likes what I do, and has allowed me the space periodically just to go ahead and do what I do here, and creating content and having a blast. And if I ever needed to use the facilities for working out, whether if it's to do cardio stuff on the treadmill, or just doing stuff like hitting the punching bag to kind of work on my martial art techniques of punching and kicking and so forth. Or every now and then I'll probably do some weights. To be honest with you, I'm not really much of a big weightlifting type of guy. I probably would do like dumbbells that weigh no more than 20 pounds. I probably would do kettlebells and kettlebell swings and all that stuff, because I'm not trying to emphasize a lot on like a big bulky physique, kind of like the Incredible Hulk kind of physique. I'm just trying to work out, have a good time, and expand my longevity, if you will. So if that's for anything, that's what I do here. And, again, I'm just very, very, very grateful for Sean for just allowing me to do what I do, having fun, and just also at the same time try to take care of myself in a good way, physically, as well as, whatever it is that I can do outside of the physical aspect of working out. Today, we have a lot of stuff to cover. Obviously, we will talk about some subject matters. We will have a Q&A form without question. And I'm just really excited. I'm really excited about this one. And I'm really excited about, starting it off, just, having this particular segment of the episode. And really, this part was actually inspired by someone that I know by the name of Kim Johnson. He is the son of one of my longtime friends, Amos Johnson III. And, we got together, Kim and I, recently, just kicking it over at the Buffalo Wild Wings. He ate a little bit of food that was basically on me. I told him, hey, come on over and, I'll cover your bill. It's all on me. Whatever you want to get, you can go ahead and get, and that'll be that. And, to my surprise, Kim actually complimented me because he said, I really like your podcast. I really do, because I like the way that you speak your mind and you have zero concerns about what others think. You just speak your piece and do whatever that you want to do. And that's great. That's really awesome. That's just you being you and you being real. So, because of that, which I have to say, if Sha Kim's listening, I want to say, bro, thank you so much for, the love and support. I truly do, appreciate that. And, much love to you, man. I got nothing but love and respect for you. He is the muse of this particular part of the episode. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to address it. I don't think that I've ever talked about this before. So I'm going to say this is probably something new. So let me just go ahead and slowly unveil the sheets and give you like an actual vision of what I'm doing here and what I'm talking about. Now, I know I've talked about this part before, but the rest of it is probably going to be new. In that, when it comes to podcasting, the job of a podcaster is to tell a story, no matter what the subject is. If it's something that, he or she knows very well, that's awesome. And that's something that's very comfortable for them because it's in their wheelhouse to really talk about said subject matter. If it's something that's a little bit difficult, that's outside of their wheelhouse, but they're willing to give it a go, that's okay too. They're still telling a story no matter what, because it's something that, at least at that time, it's important for them to discuss about it, and they want to bring it to your attention. Now, the people that are actually listening out there, the audience, they are judges, they are critics, and they do have opinions. It's like a body part. Everybody's got a body part, right? In this case, everybody's got an opinion. There's two ways that it can go when it comes to talking about the content that you put out there. Good case scenario, a lot of people will give you compliments and will actually sing your praises. They may say something like, hey, this is a good thing that you were talking about. Either A, I totally understand it, and I got, the full, I got the full understanding of your logic, which made me really connect with what you were talking about. And I was cool with it. Congratulations. I thought you did a very good job. Or the option B of that same part of the token is that even though I don't really, do the thing that you're talking about, I can understand it. And I think that your points are very valid. And I think that the way that you actually presented this part of, of your show and of, what you had to say at this moment in time, this segment, I think it was a job well done. To that, when we hear that, that's great. That's inspiring, that's good, it makes us feel pretty good. But sometimes there are some people that are haters. The critics will fire at from the yin yang and say anything and everything. They may say some stuff that's hateful. They may say that this is the worst piece of crap that I ever heard in my life. They may say something like, this was stupid. Or what you said made no sense, or blah, 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 and so forth. And here's the thing. Although legally people are allowed to have their opinions and express it, doesn't mean that 100% of the population knows how to express it very well. And they express it in a way that's very hateful and sensitive, and sometimes it would come across that, oh, you're trying to intimidate me or something. To those, I would say this. Us as podcasters, when we do our podcast show, we have a right to say whatever that we want to say. We will talk about anything that we want to talk about, whether if you want to listen to it or not. It is that simple. Now, if you're looking for a podcast where, someone's talking about something specific that you like and that you want, then you should probably either A, seek that podcast, because there's plenty of them out there in every podcasting platform out there. There's always a podcast for everyone. Go find that podcast, subscribe to that, and follow that. And then just go ahead and be content in what you're listening to. Example, if you're just wanting to listen about politics and you want to, hear something about strictly what Republicans have to say, go ahead and try to find that, Republican-based podcast. Like and subscribe to it and follow that. Why are you going to be wasting your time on listening to, say, my stuff when it has nothing to do with you? It has no interest whatsoever of what I'm talking to you about. You have no interest in that. And why do you have to go ahead and try to pour gas into the fire? I'm just trying to do a couple of things. I'm trying to do a couple of things here. Number one, I'm trying to express what I want to express in my own way. Because in podcasting, there are no right and wrong. Yeah, there are no rights and there are no wrongs. It's just how we do it. It's how we run the show. It's how we present it. And we feel comfortable with that. We like what we do. It's those that really hate it have a problem with it. And in that point, we don't really give a damn what people think. I'd rather go ahead and do something and be, hated for something that I do. Because it's probably something that's really rattling their cages. If I'm talking about peace and love and somebody's hating on that, great. Because you know what? It's rattling their cage. It's going against what they believe in. And it's probably because what I'm talking about is true, but they don't want to hear it. They don't, they're not trying to hear, what I am trying to present. And that's messed up. It's messed up. And if you think that you can do something a little bit better, if you think that you could do a better job, I challenge you. I challenge you, the hater, to go ahead and spend your own money with, whatever that means that you have to get the proper podcasting equipment, figure it out, try to go ahead and make a podcast, edit it, and put all the episodes out there to all those platforms and make your own podcast. If you're successful, great. I have no problems with people trying to be successful in that medium. If you're successful, even if it's something that I may disagree with, congratulations, you did it. But if you can't do it, then you need to STFU. Simple as that. I don't get why people try to hate on others for having an opinion or wanting to talk about what they want to talk about. If people want to talk about anime on their podcast, great. I'm about that. If people want to talk about sports, I'm about that. If people want to talk about martial arts or cooking or tattooing or photography or things of that nature, art, whatever that you want to talk about, I ain't got no problems with it. If anything, I wish you, the best of success, because in this medium, it's hard. It's a challenging road that we take. It's not easy at all. We love it because, we think it's fun, and it's something that keeps us, motivated, and with the passion that we build for it, it's something, it gives us something that we shoot for. If I had a nickel for every bad thing that somebody had to say about my podcast, I wouldn't say that I'm a rich man, but I definitely say that I would be a man that would eliminate a lot of debt. I can tell you that much. But I don't care about what people say about my podcast. And I think that the people out there who are podcasters shouldn't give a damn either. Because at the end of the day, what they say doesn't matter. And what they do doesn't pay your bills. What they do doesn't put a smile on your face as a content creator. If you do what you do and you're happy about it and you feel like, man, this is, some best work that I've done, hey, congratulations, I'm for it. And I would never take that away from you. Even if there's something that, you put out there that I may not agree with, I'll be respectful about it. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't give a damn about what I think. In the terms of if it's very negative. If it's positive, hey, that's a feather in the cap. That's a job well done. But if I come at you all negative and just trying to hate and trying to take you down, nah, that's where the BS ends. And I'm telling you right now, just keep doing what you're doing, guys. Don't give a damn what they think. It's what you feel. And if you feel like you're doing the right stuff, then it's all good. Believe that. But we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to go into the next segment. Lots more to talk about. And at the end of this podcast, you know it, your favorite segment in mind, the Q&A form. So go ahead and do what you need to do. Take a break, but we'll come right back. You should come back, but we'll definitely come back. And we'll start this round 2 for you. Better believe it. I want to tell you about an amazing store that's really good for all musicians, music enthusiasts, and a whole lot more, which is Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center in Wheaton, Maryland. That's right, you heard it correctly. Since 1958, Chuck Levin's has been actually tearing up the game when it comes to the music scene. And guess what? Since 1958, they have been the store to go to and a must-visit destination for any serious musician passing through our nation's capital. So, if you're actually a person that's in a band looking for a new instrument, such as an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, a bass guitar, or maybe some drums, if you're a DJ looking for the greatest DJ equipment, such as turntables and so forth, they got you. Hey, are you actually in an orchestra playing a woodwind instrument, brass instrument, or strings? They got you. They got all the classical instruments that you need. And let's not forget, for all my fellow podcasters, need a microphone? They got you. Need a podcasting vocal track recorder? They got you. They got everything, man. And I'm telling you, it's the best place to go. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do so, because right here at Chuck Levin's, they're the best. Forget the rest. Mess with the best. Located over at 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you want to know more about what they have to offer, you can go over to chucklevins.com online or give them a buzz at area code 301-946-8808. Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center. Like I said before, don't worry about the rest. Mess with the best.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have returned, and it was good. It was good. I always like to take a little bit of a break once I'm done with the first segment, just because it's not so much of, that it wasted a lot of physical energy, but I think it just it took a lot of mental energy. And by that, when I have to think on the words that I have to use and the tone that I have to use and the energy that is required, it can be draining in some instances. So it's not uncommon that a podcaster, after, let's say, if they do a podcast and they do it in sections, if they do it like, hey, we're going to do this segment, cut it, come back, do this segment, and then this segment, it's not uncommon that they'll say, you know what, we will take a break. And when they decide to come back and to come back from the break to resume whatever it is that they need to do for their podcast episode, is pretty much on them. I have heard tales that people take 5 minutes and that's cool. Some people may take a half an hour or 45 minutes. I myself would openly admit that I have been known to take about like an hour break just so I know that I'm in my proper mindset. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Whatever the time that you need to allow yourself to get in that right frame of mind and to do whatever you need to do in order to feel better and to say, you know what, now I'm ready for round 2. You got to do what you got to do, So in this case for me, I needed about like a good, I'll say that I probably needed at least like 30 to 45 minutes. And that's fine. I did a lot of things while I was taking a break. Obviously breathing, drinking some water, preparing for the next segment. And, also I was answering a couple of texts and, and emails and so forth. So your boy was busy, but it was for the right cause and for the right purpose. So that said, we are, back in the act once again. So, yeah, your boy has returned. Psst. Thank you. This next segment that I'm going to talk about, a lot of people, especially in the martial arts industry, has asked me about talking about this particular segment, which I'm about to do, this subject matter. And they wanted me to to give my opinions on it. Because I don't, to some people think it's a sensitive subject per se, but I personally don't think that it's, sensitive. It's not like a real big deal. It's not like in the world of politics that you vote for one person and then that makes, the answer that you give out about whether if you went with, person A or person B, candidate A or candidate B, as soon as you, release that information, you possibly could be the bad guy, and then shots fired. You are the worst thing in the world since the invention of, Diet Dr. Pepper or whatever. You know what I mean? And it is a ongoing question for a lot of people, and especially in the martial arts. A lot of people are thinking about it and talking about it. And it's to me, I feel like it's a silly subject to talk about. But then again, it's one of those things that I'm okay to talk about, and that's fine. Which is whether or not it's okay to actually cross-train in other arts. Now, for those that don't understand that situation and don't know what that means, long story short, it's like saying that you're taking, Taekwondo as your base art, but then you decided to diversify your training in other, in other martial arts to become like, this, I guess, singular, style that you're trying to put together. You could be a Taekwondo practitioner, which is, your basic primary bread and butter, but you can cross train in Muay Thai kickboxing. You could cross train in Chinese Kung Fu, and you can also cross train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I don't think, in my opinion, in my thoughts, I don't think that there's anything wrong with, doing a little cross training, getting something from column A, mixing it with column B, adding ingredient C, D, and E. You know what I mean? And to me, I feel like the more arts that you study and you train in, and you diversify in, it makes you a little bit more open-minded, and you kind of understand a little bit more of a bigger concept to the martial arts than what you're already used to. You know what I mean? I know that in our system, the system that I train under, our base is Taekwondo. But we also have certain parts of Japanese karate in it. We also have, Aikido in it. And I think there was a little bit hint of, some Kung Fu in there. If I understand the family tree of martial arts that our system is locked under. So, in that sense, if it was strictly just Taekwondo and Taekwondo alone, it's not to say it's bad, but it would only be one-dimensional. Whereas the Taekwondo system that we have, under our belt, there's more different, influences of different arts that made this particular style of art. You know what I mean? Or, if, let's say, for example, I wanted to cross-train in just in boxing. And I also wanted to cross-train with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That means I am learning how to throw my hands a little bit better. Because in boxing, all they do is punch, and they have different ways of doing it. Boxing, I would say, is the superior, combat sport when it comes to different types of punches, bobbing and weaving and timing and blocks and everything like that. So in a sense, boxing is very good and very useful on the street. If I was also to put Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the equation, that's also good because they say a lot of fights, 9 times out of 10, it ends on the ground. And if you don't know what you're doing on the ground, if you don't know how to grapple well, if you don't know how to defend yourself against certain maneuvers in a ground fighting situation, then you're pretty much good as toast. And I think that it's very important to try to, have a Mod Podge full of arts in your arsenal. Now, I understand why people want to say you shouldn't cross-train in a lot of martial arts because you're already aiming your emphasis of training into one main art. When you start throwing in other arts in the equation like boxing, kickboxing, maybe Hapkido, maybe Kung Fu or Japanese karate or stuff like that, that's too much information to absorb at the same time. It's like saying that you're trying to throw in 20 gigabytes of memory in your hard drive and your hard drive capacity is only at 5 gigabytes. That's bad. You know what I mean? And I understand it. I don't think that that's wrong. But I do believe that when it comes to this type of situation, you pretty much have a choice of what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you need to learn to protect yourself at all times and by any means necessary. And any which way that you can get that knowledge to train in that particular art, if you can do it, do it. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Not a one. I mean, case in point, Bruce Lee. Everybody knows Bruce Lee. The guy that was, a film actor that, brought Chinese martial arts into the forefront. Wing Chun, and then all of a sudden, what did he do? He started, cultivating different styles into what he already knew of Wing Chun, because he believed that, tradition and things of that stuff, fixed positions and techniques, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you have to use what is effective on the street and what's really important for means of survival. So, he took everything that he learned from Wing Chun, Kung Fu. He cross-trained with Grandmaster Jun Rhee, who was the American father of Taekwondo, and started perfecting, his kicking a little bit better with learning the Taekwondo style of kicking. Started incorporating other arts, like boxing, Hapkido, karate, and things like that, and made it into what it is today that people know as the art of Jeet Kune Do, which is the art of, of the intercepting fist. And I think it's wonderful that, a pioneer in the martial arts, Bruce Lee, was able to take a lot of arts and melt it together in this beautiful melting pot, and created something that was useful. And I think that if it wasn't for him cross-training in different arts to find out what was effective and what worked for him, we wouldn't have the art of Jeet Kune Do what it is today. Or we wouldn't have the philosophy and the style of mixed martial arts. Because now, what's happening in the MMA world? Mixed martial arts. We're mixing a lot of martial arts together into a one combative system for the sport aspect of it. Case in point, the UFC. A lot of their athletes are cross-training in a lot of arts. Somebody could be training in karate, but they also train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and boxing. And that's a good combination. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. If you're just one-dimensional, you better be good with it. That's all I'm saying. And you better, if you need to defend yourself, you better know what to do and how to do it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with cross-training in different arts. The more arts that you expose yourself with, the better. And I think that, at least to talk about this subject matter specifically, I think that, when you train in different arts and you immerse yourself in different arts at the same time, it'll only raise up your fighter IQ. At least that's what I believe in. Take it for what it's worth. You may not agree with it, and that's fine. I don't expect 100% of the world's population to agree with me, but I am asking them just to kind of hear what I have to say. So that's all. What we're going to do right now is that we are going to take a moment and take 5. When we come back, we will do the greatest segment of them all, the Q&A forum. That's right, the Q&A session, question and answers. You ask me a lot of questions. Guess what? I'm going to answer them. And it's going to be fun. And it's going to be great. So do what you need to do. Take a break. Do whatever you have to. But come right back, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is about to throw it into 6th gear, and we're fired up and ready to go.
In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on? Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And we have come to the portion now, ladies and gentlemen, that we are doing the very last portion of our show, as always. But before we jump into that, I do want to read a disclaimer. So, here we go. And no particular consequence. The Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is asking help on a voluntary basis to anyone that would like to assist our podcast show by any means of the ways of sponsorship and or financially donating to the podcast show to help improve the quality of our podcast and make it better. All proceeds that we do raise will go towards getting more equipment and better equipment that we need. Such as more microphones for our in-studio guests, XLR cables that are associated with that microphone, headphones for our in-studio guests, and a MacBook Pro, which is the official computer of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. We use that, and we use a certain program to make sure that each episode that we put out there for your listening pleasure is actually at 100% crystal clear, awesome quality for you to enjoy. Now, here's the inside joke. Now, whatever you want to donate, no matter the amount, is appreciated. So, example, if you want to donate $5 million, which I doubt anybody would want to donate that much, but you never know. We definitely do appreciate that. Even to as little as $5, every little bit helps, and we would definitely appreciate that assistance. You can make a donation by the following. If you have PayPal and or Venmo, you can make a donation there. Just go ahead and look me up under my tag name at Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, that is at KIM HOANG MD ACTOR, and put in whatever amount that you would like to donate, and that's awesome. If you have Cash App, you can go ahead and look me up under my tag name there, which is the $ Kim Hoang MD Actor. Once again, $ KIM HOANG MD ACTOR. That being said, now, ladies and gentlemen, we begin the greatest segment of them all, the Q&A forum. That's right, question and answers. You ask them questions that I have right over here, and guess what? I will do my best to go ahead and answer it. Normally we do about 7 questions. That's like right over here. Today we are going to be very generous. We will actually do 7 questions and 2 bonus questions. So we have a grand total of 9 questions. I'm excited. And I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. I think it's going to be wonderful. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be one of those things where, like, man, this is definitely something that I've been looking forward to. And I think that, anyone who is anyone, please believe and understand that this is going to be a good time. It's going to be great. I'm really excited to, just answer the questions and deal with it the best way that I can. And, and the fact that you guys are actually here with me right now to actually understand where I'm coming from and, what I do and so forth. It's incredible. It's really incredible. And I thank y'all, for making this happen. So, without any further delay, let's go ahead and attack these questions on the Q&A form, shall we? Let's do it. All right, here we go. In, no particular order or anything of that sort. Question number 1. Kim, at what age can a person start training in the martial arts? What's the earliest age that you've heard of? Carla from San Ramon, California. Carla, I've heard, wise tales that, kids at 4 years old can start training in the martial arts. It has been, in my experience and from what I understand, that from the school where I train at in martial arts, the youngest student that we've had was like maybe about 5 or 6. Now, I think that, in my opinion, if you want to train them, great. Like, if you want to enroll them into a martial arts school, I think that the age bracket would probably be 6 or 7 that I feel, in my opinion, is a little bit more appropriate. And I say that because their attention spans are a little bit more developed than being like 4 years old or 5 years old. Now, I'm not telling a martial arts school what to do in terms of like how they run their program. If they feel that 4 and 5 year olds are able to take the martial arts and start learning it, by all means, that's cool. Even if you think that having students at like age 3, if they think that they're that's age appropriate to start martial arts training, go for it. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, I think like the age bracket should start at 6 or 7 because I think their attention span is a little bit more developed. But that's just my opinion. I'm not going to say anything else, and I'm not going to tell people, like, if they are a martial arts school owner, I'm not going to tell them how to run things. So that's my opinion right there. Question number 2, Kim, why was music not a creative medium for you? Rick from Salem, Massachusetts. Rick, I love music, and when I was young, in middle school, which was like 6th grade through the 8th grade, and I think I was maybe 11 or 10 at the time, I think. I was in the school orchestra. I played clarinet for 2 years and played trombone for 1. You know what I mean? But I think, like, if you're talking about, like, pursuing music as, like, maybe, like, on a more higher level or even, like, a different genre with, like, rock and roll band or something like that, I felt like it really wasn't my calling. And I was afraid that, with being in a music band, like a rock and roll band, it's kind of hard to mask any mistakes that you possibly may put out there while you're performing. Also, I don't think that I was really musically inclined to learn a lot of guitars or bass guitars or anything of that stuff, or even drums, because I felt like coordination wise I didn't really have any proper rhythm and proper timing. When you're in an orchestra band and let's say you play the trombone and there's 8 more trombone players, if you make a mistake, there's 8 other people that can actually mask and cover that mistake. So not many people are going to notice, you know what I mean? It's going to be good because there are 8 other trombone players protecting you. If you are a guitar player, whether if it's rhythm guitar or lead guitar, you make that one mistake, the whole the whole crowd knew it because they heard it and they saw it. And, at that point, I just kind of knew, that's just not for me. Now, I'm not telling people what kind of creative medium that you should have. If you love music and that's your passion, go for it. If you like painting, go for it, or photography, or if you like the culinary industry, go for it. There's nothing wrong. As long as you feel comfortable with it and you're all right and that's where your passion lies, do it. You know what I mean? Just do it. Like Nike. Just do it. Question number 3. Kim, if there was a place that you would like to go for a week domestically in the U.S., where would you like to go? Laura from Springfield, Illinois. Laura, very good question. Me personally, I would love to go to Los Angeles. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. I think it's a different type of vibe. I have friends over there. There are things that I would love to explore in Los Angeles and a whole lot more. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to LA and then go immediately to Hollywood or go to this part of LA or, visit like a suburb of LA? I mean, LA's got a lot that's going on. There's so much stuff that LA has that the East Coast doesn't have. And I think in that case, it's like, wow. I got to check it out before it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have a Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box is like a fast food place, that's only in the West Coast. We don't have it in the East Coast. So we're kind of a little bit, we're screwed there in that respect. So, I would love to go there for a week, hang out and visit friends and find out what's going on there and maybe try to have my crack at the at the acting industry and see what's going on there. I think it would be cool, so we'll see how that goes, but damned if I don't want to go to LA right now, because I would really like to go Southwest Airlines, take a flight and do what I do best, you know what I'm saying? So that's just me right there in a nutshell. Question number 4. Kim, what are your thoughts when you try to be in a relationship with the person only for them to be in a relationship with another person that and other people know that you were the better choice? George from Selkirk, Manitoba, Canada. To my Canadian brothers and sisters, what's happening? George, I would say this. That has happened to me before. I will be 100% fully transparent. That did happen to me before. And it definitely hurt my heart and it broke my heart because everybody knew that I was a real nice guy. They were rooting for me. They were cheering for me. They felt like at the time I was a really great influence on this young lady, this young woman. And then all of a sudden she just dumped it out. She called it off maybe 2 days later after she left to go back over to her home state. At that point, I just realized, and I guess this is my answer to you, that honestly, you didn't do anything wrong. If that is happening to you, that other person is just missing out, man, on something great and something that could have been, And my thing is this: if that person in question that's going out with you doesn't see the good quality, then there's something wrong. And that's just my opinion. There's something definitely wrong with that situation. Overall, I think you have to understand that, even though situations like that will occur in life, it's better to stand alone than to stand with a person in a relationship that, it's never going to be, I'd rather be in a real relationship than a fake one. I'd rather be with the real person than a fake person, And to that person that did me wrong, I don't really have anything to say to you, and nor do I want to say anything to you. So I think I'll just leave it at that. I'm definitely going to leave it at that because I feel like anything more that I say is just going to be a waste of my time. So we're going to go ahead and move on. Question number 5. Kim, what are your opinions on trying something new? Erica from Stone Mountain, Georgia. I don't have a problem with it. I think that if you are trying something new, that means that you're a very open-minded individual, right? You're trying something that is kind of, something that you've never done before that's outside of your wheelhouse. Example, like, if you're telling me, hey, let's go ahead and try a new sport to play. Let's say, and I'm going to pick a random sport, here. Let's try pickleball, which pickleball is like it's a sport combination between tennis and table tennis. All the action of tennis, but more of in a real life table tennis situation, right? Of course, you have an idea of, how the sport works. You just don't really know the sport in general as a whole. We understand that. That's perfectly cool, right? But you're going to try it because it's new. And you're going to give it a shot because you're like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? Good case scenario, hey, you try out the sport, you like it, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. And then congratulations, you picked up on a new activity that might, be with you in the long run. It's perfectly cool. And if, let's say, for example, you tried out that activity, you tried out that sport, and you're like, this sport thing, this particular pickleball thing is not for me. Hey, at least you took the time to explore that opportunity and to see where it's going. And, you can take your focus on to the next thing. Maybe it could be like, hey, I'm going to try cooking, or I'm going to try painting, or do something of that sort. So if you're trying something new, I encourage it to anybody. It's definitely a good thing, and see where it takes you. The worst thing that you can do is that you can admit, once again, that the activity was not for you, and you move forward. Good case scenario, hey, I got a new hobby. So there it is. Question number 6. Kim, what do you think about the dispensaries that are now out around in many major cities across the United States of America and certain, towns within the area? Manuel from Portland, Oregon. This is a real sensitive subject on certain parts, so I'm going to try to enter this with the open mind and answer it with the open mind. Because now in the United States, that, marijuana is now legal in that you can actually partake in that type of activity out in the open without the law messing with you. It definitely shows how long, and just more like, we come a long way, right? With trying to with the legalization of marijuana and the fight against drugs and stuff like that. It's definitely quite, a victory for a lot of people. I never thought that marijuana was a bad thing, because there was things that are a lot worse than that. Things that are way worse than that I won't even mention. Okay? But, with the fact that we have dispensaries now all over the major cities of the United States of America, and and around certain towns in suburbia within the the areas of the big cities, I think it's good for the fact that it's being regulated and watched in a legal way, and we don't have to be around in fear anymore, thinking, man, I got to buy, marijuana around the corner, but I'm afraid that, if I do that, I might get arrested by the police. No. Now you have dispensaries, they relegate that, and they make sure that everybody's on the up and up with that stuff. So I think it's a win for the community in that respect. And as long as they're using their stuff responsibly, then that's good, right? That's a big win. So there it is. All right, last question before we go to the bonus round. Question number 7. Kim, do you plan to interview more people on your podcast? Kalani from Kailua, Kona, Hawaii. Wow. Aloha, Kalani. Thank you for your question, as I have it right over here. I definitely would like to try to interview more people. This podcast that I have, that's on all major podcasting platforms, it's for the people. And I like to interview people that, have a creative medium, because that's what it's all about, primarily. So, for example, if, for example, you are a chef, that means that you are in the culinary arts. And the fact that, being a chef and cooking food is an art, we want to celebrate that here. You know what I mean? I want to celebrate all the chefs, all the photographers, all the cosplayers that dress up like, let's say, Mario and Luigi. You know what I mean? I want to interview the upcoming actors and the musicians and stuff like that, because they have a great, skill set. They have a creative art that must be celebrated, and we got to tell their story. We got to put them out in the limelight, and it's wonderful. And I want people to actually get to know them, because they could be the next big thing. Today they're not really famous. Tomorrow they could blow up, and it would be great to celebrate them, and that's what it's all about. And I would love to, another reason why I would love to interview more people is because there is a great dynamic when you actually interview people live, and you see the interaction, and you see and hear their energy, and you feel it. You're just like, wow, this person's really locked in, and they're in it to win it. They're that passionate about their art, and they're telling me the story and the reason of why they're doing it. All right, yeah, let's go. Let's make it happen. I'm really, really happy for them, and to welcome an opportunity to tell their story here, on the podcast. So, let's go for it. I'm down for it. Like I'm excited. I'm fired up right now, just even thinking about it. So it's a good thing. Now we got 2 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more questions for the bonus round. I want to give a quick shout out over to my friend Sarah Alpha, who is a nice person that I've met. And she is great, coming all the way from Brazil. We want to tell Sarah Alpha that, we love her. We appreciate her. She is a great person. And, we give her so much love and support for everything that she does. And we wish her nothing but the best of, success in all of her creative endeavors. And we just want to let her know that, hey, we love you. We really do. So keep at it. You know what I mean? Keep fighting the fight. Keep doing what you do best. And, God bless you in every sense of the way. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So let's go over to the bonus questions, ladies and gentlemen. We got question number 8. Kim, what are your thoughts on the healthcare in the United States of America? Martin from El Paso, Texas. Oh, God. Well, I'm not going to try to get too political on this. Not like it's a real political thing, because we're not talking about policies here. But if I was to talk about the healthcare system here in the United States of America, it is atrocious and it is flipping garbage. And I feel like as the United States of America, of our country, we should be able to do better. We really should be able to do better. Every country that I've heard of that is not the United States, Canada, England, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Argentina, France, the Netherlands, Greece, Germany, Australia, hell, even China, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam. They have better health care than we do in the United States. It is sad. Something goes wrong, hey, no problem. Go to the hospital. You get full coverage. You only pay an annual tax on your health care. But you know what? It's a one-time thing. Everything else, you're covered. In the United States, we don't have that. And I feel like that's wrong on all angles of the board. As an American, it makes me very disappointed that our country has not yet fixed that problem. And that's unfair. How are other countries in the world beating us in this department of healthcare? And we're supposedly one of the best countries in the world, a superpower, and we can't even provide, free health care for all the citizens of the United States of America. That disappoints me. As an American, I am ashamed of that, and I feel like we should do better. Now, the only thing that comes into mind is, can we improve it as, citizens of the United States to, make our health care better? It's possible. I'm just saying it's possible, but I don't hold the cards to that. And I think they need to work that out. And if they don't, then that's just another reason why the United States the United States of America is in trouble, and another reason why we have a bad reputation. And I pray that it works out. That's all I got to say. Last question. Oh, I can't believe it. Can we get a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Last question, and we are done, ladies and gentlemen. Holy guacamole. Then after that, we're going to go over and wrap up with the podcast. And, I might have an after party after this. I don't know. So here we go. Question number 9 goes as follows. Kim, I saw on social media that you will be on a future episode of the My Empty Hands podcast hosted by Reggie Darden. How did this come about and how did it go? Samantha from London, Ontario. Good Lord. We have a lot of Canadians here that are asking a lot of questions. I'm not mad at that. That makes me truly happy knowing that this podcast is getting like a lot of traction, not just in the United States, but outside of it. That's rad. That is super rad. Thank you for the love and support. My gosh. And to all my Canadian brothers and sisters, I love you, eh? All right. Samantha, you are correct. I will be on a future episode of My Empty Hands podcast, which is a podcast that is hosted by Reggie, who is a martial artist. He is a practitioner of Kempo Karate. He has studied Taekwondo. Currently, he is training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that's really awesome. And the way that it came about was that he heard me on another podcast. Now, if you know the name Brian Doucette, he is another podcaster, and he has a show, his own podcast called Everyday Martial Artist. He heard the episode that I was on, when it came to that particular podcast, because I was a guest a while ago on Everyday Martial Artist with Brian Doucette. He liked it. I do believe that Reggie did interview Brian Doucette, and I guess somewhere in the middle of it, in the mixture of it, I guess I was just brought up, and I got contacted by Reggie. He said, Kim, I heard a lot about you. I would like to interview you on my podcast show. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we recently recorded that episode, which I thought it went really well, because he was asking questions about me, about my martial arts training, being a 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo. He asked about, my podcasting, and he asked me a lot about me being a local film actor, and it was great. For once, it was good because I wasn't in the hot seat. I was the one that was being interviewed. I wasn't the one asking the questions. He was asking the questions to me. I was answering it. We both had a good time. We were laughing, and it was a good moment. And I definitely love to have more opportunities to be in other people's podcast shows, and to do what I do. So yeah. When that episode is happening, I don't know, but I will let people know when it does come out. But, thank you once again to Reggie Darden of the My Empty Hands podcast. It was, again, a great opportunity. Much love and respect, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. And that's it. That is it. We are done. We did it. This whole bunch of questions, now done. Fantastic. Oh, man, that is great. So let me go ahead and close everything out. And then, for those that are tuning in to a special way, we'll have a little bit of an after party, a little Q&A there. So it would be awesome. Guys, you can find me on a lot of social media. Go on Facebook, and under the search box, type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Find me there. Add me and follow me. It would be amazing. We are also on Instagram and on Twitter, now known as X. You can find me under my tag name, TK Yeah, TKHPC Experience, all in one word. Once again, that is TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. We are on 6 podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Audible, and now on iHeartRadio, which makes 6 podcasting platforms. Please like, follow, and subscribe to my podcast on all of those podcasting platforms. And please do me a favor. If you have Spotify, please give me a 5-star ranking. We would definitely appreciate that. If you are on Apple Podcasts, please give me a 5-star ranking and a positive written review, because the more times that you do that, then our podcast will be thrown out to the front lines and they'll get more attention. And then somebody could be like, oh my gosh, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I heard about this show because my friend Izzy told me that this is a great podcast show to listen to. We should probably like, follow, and subscribe to it. Yes, absolutely. And that would be amazing. And also do me a favor. Please share the podcast on all of your social media pages. Again, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now known as X, Snapchat, or in this case right now, believe it or not, we are, we have a thing going on with TikTok. So if you want to share it that way, that would be amazing. Also, share the information live in person to people that you know, like a friend or a family member, a co-worker, colleague, or maybe your neighbor next door. Because in this business, we call it brand awareness. Sharing is caring, and it means a lot to us. You know what I mean? It really does. Last but not least, if you want to be a special guest on our show, a guest host, if you have any constructive criticism, or if you have any questions for our Q&A forum when I do a solo episode with 0 guests, please email me, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Feel free to, at the subject line, put whatever subject it is. In the body of the email, write out your email and then send it out to me within maybe a day or maybe 2. I will read it and I will respond back, because that is what I like to do. You know what I mean? So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I want to thank everybody for their time, for their love and support, and just doing everything that they can to kind of put the name out of the for everybody, to let people know that the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is a cool show. And I want to say thank you very much, because it does mean a lot when people love our stuff and support it. It means the world to us. Like I've always said, this podcast is not my podcast alone. It is also yours as well. And I truly believe that, I could not do this without you guys. This podcast does not function without you guys. And the fact that you're willing to stick it out with us and to love us and support us like you do, it means the world to us. And we cannot thank you enough. So much love and respect to everybody out there. It is great. But we are going to go ahead and go. We will be back. So, it's not the end. As soon as this is done, for those that are reporting otherwise and watching on another method, we will have a little bit of an after party and a Q&A forum there. So we will kick it and have a little fun. So, guys, thank you so much. Please be safe out there. And, just do the right things. Don't do anything that's risky or get you in trouble, or you might get hurt out of it, because we just don't want to see you get buried in a pine box and get, thrown 6 feet under. We don't want that to happen to you, because we want you to be safe, we want you to be healthy, and we want you to be happy in life, because why? You deserve it. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to be happy. and you deserve to achieve all that you want in life and a whole lot more. So, example, if you want to be an actor, you go ahead and be an actor. If you want to be a doctor, you go be a doctor. If you want to be a lawyer, go be a lawyer. We support that. And anybody that tells you mean things otherwise, that, says that you can't do it, that you will fail, and that you suck and stuff like that, you can tell them, you can go somewhere. And there's a lot of fingers that I have on my hands, but I'll probably use the one to let you know that I'm not going to listen to your negativity. I believe in myself. I'm going to make a success out of myself. And if you don't believe in what I can do and my capabilities, and if you don't believe in my potential, you can leave and go home and stay there and never come out, because I'm going to be a success with or without your consent. So, that being said, for the one time, and we're doing it over in the KU dungeon, over in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, the host with the most, the man with the plan, the guy that can bring the power within the hour, and the dude with the right attitude, saying thank you, obrigado, arigato, and we're going to do it again real soon, guys. I do promise you that. So, we're not going anywhere. We're still going to make great content for y'all because we love you. And I truly mean that. It's been real, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Can I get a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Too kind. Too kind. So for the one time, this is your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang, saying thank you. I appreciate it. I love you. God bless you. Please be safe. And know if you need anything, reach out. And I'll be happy to spend some time with you and talk about it. All right? You guys have been wonderful. And we will do it again real soon. Peace. Peace.